All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Past midnight on Yates Street, the signal hums low. The static's alive and the shadows glow through the glass of the control room door. Something whispers, we've been here before. Old footsteps echo the real size. The red on nail light flickers and dies through the hallway. A chill creeps deep. CKTB never sleeps. Ghosts on Yates Street, calling my name, riding the airwaves, lost in the flame.
And welcome back to the X Zone, everyone. I am Rob McConnell, and for the next 2 hours, I'm your host and your guide as together we will cross the time-space continuum to this place that I call the X Zone. It's a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. It's a place where fact is fiction and 9 times out of 10, fiction is reality. And we're coming to you around the world tonight on the Talkstar Radio Network, X Zone Broadcast Network. Let me see, I've forgotten somebody there. Mutual Broadcast Network, and on Tuber TV, and of course, on your hometown radio, Classic 1220 CFAJ AM here in St. Catharines, Ontario, who stream us at classic1220.ca. Before we get to my guest who is already on screen with us, Brooks Agnew, just 2 little reminders. Friday, October 31st, we have our 6-hour Halloween special starting at 6 p.m. Eastern, going all the way to the midnight hour of midnight. 2 guests an hour from all over the spectrum. We have a psychic, we have a ghost hunter, we have a witch, we have a parapsychologist, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. So that's on the 31st of October. Now, November 21st, we have Alien Invasion Day. Once again, we're going to be taking a 6-hour cruise down Alien Invasion Way to see if aliens will really invade us, as some predict, including that professor over at Harvard. Are you a skeptic or are you a believer? Send me an email, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. My guest this hour, Brooks Agnew, grew up in Pasadena, California. He received his Bachelor of Science with honors in chemistry from Tennessee Technological University. He is a multi-patented master engineer with more than 30 years of experience consulting for the Fortune 100. He has 8 Amazon best-selling books with 13 titles in print. He is one of the world's most recognized voices in the podcast world today after more than 20 years on the web with X Squared Radio. He has been featured on dozens of TV and hundreds of radio programs, as well as numerous scientific documentaries. He is currently living in North Carolina and is the CEO of his own company. Joining me now is Brooks Agnew. And Brooks, welcome back to the X Zone. Great having you with us, my friend.
Thank you, Rob. Good to be here. I love this program.
Yeah, we love you too, Brooks. And I've got to say, you and I always start talking about the weird, the strange, the bizarre, and we end up in politics. So why don't we do a little turnaround here? Because I've got to tell you, Brooks, being up here on top of the 49th, looking down to what's going on in the United States, man, I say more prayers from my American friends than I have ever said before in my life. And yeah. Yesterday, as a matter of fact, I got an email with a photograph of the work that they're doing on the White House, demolishing the East Wing. And the editor of the newspaper said, "Rob, I love your show. Give me a caption." So the caption I gave was, "So, have they found the Epstein files yet?"
Good one.
Yeah. So, you're in business down there and you're very well known throughout the United States, and you've done some great work and continue to do great work. How do you make sense of what's going on?
A lot of us have had suspicions that inside our government, there's another government. We've seen the ripples from it for a long, long time.
Right.
We never see anybody go to jail. We never see any big fines. We just hear news stories and exposés. And then Doge came along, and we started to understand the scope of what we're dealing with
Mhm.
here. We're not dealing with millions or billions. We're dealing with trillions of dollars worth of corruption. And still, we really haven't seen the shakeup. We haven't seen the bad guys, running out of the buildings like rats. And that's kind of where our society is right now. We're torn between those who are dependent upon that corruption class
Mhm.
because they're bought and paid for. Their votes are paid for through one means or another, and those who want to be free of that and want to retain more of their earnings. And that that tension is really beginning to come to the forefront. I guess at the beginning or at the epicenter of all this is excuse me, is Donald Trump, because Trump uh, should have been pretty easy to take out if he was corrupt at all, because they investigated him all the way down to, I don't know, his molecular level, and couldn't find anything. Uh, but the armies that they have marshaled against him, first it was the armies of Congress impeaching him over and over and over again and
Mhm.
tying him up every which way. And now it's this judicial cartel that's forming, which we're seeing. We have about a little less than 700 federal judges in our system, and about 30% of them are foreign born and have another agenda. And so they're kind of forming this cartel to try
Mhm.
to fight Trump on the political level. And we're witnessing it all. We're now seeing what is at stake. We thought it was a few dozen, maybe, involved in this. And now we're seeing that it's a good portion of our government.
I
And we
know.
really didn't notice it until the whole thing shut down. The whole thing shut down. And now everybody has to take off their masks and come out in the street and fight. And we get to see them for who they really are. It is shocking to us because we kind of left the country to itself because we're doing our own thing. We have
Right.
our head
Yeah.
down. We're pushing for our own things. We're building our houses. We're building our business, raising our kids. We don't want to be involved on a macro scale like this.
Yes.
But now we're seeing it, and
Hmm.
honestly, we don't know what to do with it except pray and get together and have big, meetings and rallies and vigils. We don't burn things. We don't tear things apart, as you could see after the Charlie Kirk assassination. And that was another thing. We had an army in this country, and in yours too, of Charlie Kirks. There were lots and lots of people like him
Hmm.
out here taking on various decentralized parts of this fight. And I think Charlie was the best of us. It kind of hurts me to realize what they did to him. But you
Well, wait
know,
a sec. You said they did to him.
yeah, I'm thoroughly convinced, and I don't think there's anybody that I know that's not convinced that there is at least 10 to 15 people involved, directly involved in his assassination, and maybe on another level even more than that. So it's
So,
a conspiracy.
was this a political assassination?
Absolutely, it was, because Charlie went into the lion's den. He went
Hmm.
right into the colleges where the global syndicate has been spending all their money to raise another generation of sycophants, and he debated them. And I watched hundreds of his debates. I followed him for years. I don't think I ever saw him actually win over anybody behind the microphone arguing with him. But the people around him, he was registering thousands and thousands of Republicans every single month.
Wow.
And that's where they saw the damage.
You see, I think one of the problems I have with Charlie Kirk is that up here in Canada, we never heard of Charlie Kirk until the assassination.
Yeah.
And we're saying, well, okay, so who is this guy? Why is he getting all the attention he's getting? Why all the grief within the administration? What what do they know that we don't know? And it was a learning process for us up here to fully understand what Charlie Kirk was all about, what he was doing, and how significant he was not only to American politics, but to worldwide politics.
And it wasn't so much the politics,
Mm-hmm.
that aside, it was more the ethos of what it means to be a conservative. Charlie would take on any liberal anytime, and he just had this motto: prove me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And he would use logic, he would use his incredibly vast library of books that he'd read and mastered, his philosophies that he had mastered, and his even temper without ever losing his cool. And he seemed to be effective in what he was doing. Now, like I said, he wasn't alone. There are lots and lots of Charlie Kirks out here. There was Turning Point, Tipping Point. I can't even name them all, thousands of us, but we're all decentralized. Charlie just picked an area that he mastered. He was better than Ben Shapiro. He was better than Milo. He was better
Mm-hmm.
than Dinesh D'Souza. Everybody that went out in that theater pretty much failed, except for Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk really did a great job because he held his integrity the whole time.
Let me ask you this then. Since Charlie Kirk was in such high regard, did a lot of work for the Republican Party, would he have been an ideal candidate as a replacement for President Trump during the next elections?
No, I don't
No
think
way.
so, because having knowledge is not enough to be
Okay.
president. The way the presidency is set up, you have to have a person of a temperament that is predictable and yet unpredictable in the sense that you can't play the United States. And it's the one job
Mm-hmm.
in our government that is popularly elected. Yes, it goes by electoral votes, but if you win by a large enough margin, it becomes a mandate. And it really is, uh, when you go back to the
Right.
early foundings of our government, we had anti-federalists and we had federalists. The anti-federalists became the Democrats. They didn't want a powerful central figure. What they wanted was a bureaucracy. They wanted a tractable, uh, boiling mess of a bureaucracy that they could control with subterfuge. The Federalists, which became the Republicans, they wanted a strong central figure, like a Washington, like a Jefferson, somebody that could command. And that's the loggerheads we're at right now, because Trump certainly is that person. I don't think Charlie was.
Yeah, once again, looking from up north down south, a lot of the things that we see President Trump do, we just shake our heads and say, what the hell is that man doing? For example, we'll get into that on the other side of the break because I've got to take my break now, and I still shake my head sometimes.
Yeah, that's good.
Brooks, always great seeing you. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us. And Exo Nation, if you'd like to find out more about Brooks, like it says on the screen, brooksagnew.com. The X Zone, a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard, Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. Eastern until midnight, right here on the X Zone Broadcast Network, Talkstar Radio Network, Mutual Broadcast Network, Tuber, and on your hometown radio, Classic 1220 CFAJ AM, and to my good friend and the GM over at Classic 1220, Peter Bordley. Hi, Peter. Say hi to Joyce to me, and I hope if you're driving home from the casino in Niagara Falls tonight, you're smiling. We'll be back on the other side of this break. Don't go away.
Old footsteps echo the real size. The red on nail light flickers and dies through the hallway.
In story village, fostering screens.
In a world where shadows dance and dreams take flight through the veil of reality into the night, Rob McConnell leads the way, a beacon so bright. With over 35 years, he ignites the light. A voice from the north where whispers are bold, stories untold in the echoes of old. Fact meets fiction in this realm of delight, in the X Zone where dark turns to bright. Welcome to the X Zone, believe and be free, a sanctuary for truth that dare to be seen.
And welcome back, everyone. Our good guest this hour is a good guy that we've had the pleasure of knowing for a number of years here in the X Zone. His opinion is always held so high here because he knows what the hell he's talking about. And that is our good friend Brooks Agnew, his website, brooksagnew.com. Just before we finish with Charlie, you had the opportunity of meeting him, you were telling me during the break.
When he was young, he was a fireball, no doubt
Mm-hmm.
about it. He was really unconnected. He hadn't married yet. He was really, really dedicated. He wanted to be an open debate kind of person, and he wanted to go into the theater of the colleges and universities. And he didn't have any money. I mean, he was basically sleeping on people's couches
Oh,
for a while.
gosh.
But he once he turned to Jesus Christ, and I don't mean he just entertained it,
Mm-hmm.
he absorbed it. He read a lot of the old Christian philosophers. He read a lot of old literature and began to put together the man Charlie Kirk. And then Turning Point USA became, it went from a very small uh, gathering, a few hundred at a time,
Mm-hmm.
to really becoming a premier uh, location that news media and great speakers would come and share their ideas. Charlie was a leader in that sense, and he was unturnable. You could not make him mad, and this was basically his hallmark.
Is it possible, Brooke, and this is just a Canadian asking a friend who's an American this question, is it possible that those who those who are behind the scenes of the administration saw what was going to be happening, and that's why they brought Donald Trump in and how he has maintained the rock hand that he has, and you know, because I don't know, he's getting away. I've never seen a president take so many advantages that go against the Constitution as President Trump is. For let's take what's going on in the Caribbean, shooting down alleged drug running boats in international waters. Now the Pacific, giving $20 billion to Argentina for their cattle industry and to help equalize the country. And then you've got all the farmers in the United States who are maybe going out of business because now the beef is going to be coming from Argentina. How he's poking Colombia. Man, he's got a lot on his plate. And then there's to mention the work that he's doing in Israel. Has he overdone what he can successfully do? It seems like he's chasing so many rabbits that none of the rabbits are getting caught anymore.
Well, a lot of people do make those comments, and he's always been that way. He's always had
Yeah.
hundreds of businesses that he operated, but they all operated profitably. And once he got them set up, they operated with some autonomy and were able to be very successful
Mm-hmm.
that way. The thing about Donald Trump, when going back to, I would say, 2014, when we realized that there was a deal that had been made during the Obama administration, when Obama was a nobody knew him, his name was offensive, his style was offensive, uh, and somehow he became president
He rose to
because,
power very fast.
well, it was Hillary Clinton who had the power. She had the name recognition, no doubt about it. But it was Bill Clinton and Barack Obama that made the deal. And what they said was, and I have this because I have some of the communications. Uh, Barack Obama went to Bill Clinton because he knew he had to have Bill Clinton campaigning beside him in order to win, which was difficult to do because his wife was running against him.
Yeah.
So Bill Clinton made the deal. He's a master politician. And he said, okay, here's the deal. You pay off my wife's campaign debts and she'll drop out of the race. Well, it made Obama furious, and he said no. So they came together about 6 weeks later when Barack Obama realized he could not win. There was no way he could win without Bill Clinton campaigning for him. He came back and said, okay, I'll do it. I'll pay her debts off if she drops out of the race. And Bill Clinton said, fine, okay, that'll work. And one more thing, you make Hillary Clinton your Secretary of State when you win. And that's how Hillary Clinton got into that administration and was able to do the terrible things that she did. So we realized
Hmm.
that the resume building was unmatched.
Right.
Hillary Clinton was the top of the resume, no doubt about it. And she was going to win. I mean, 98% of our press thought that Hillary was going to win.
Big
Trump
time, yeah.
thought Hillary was going to win. And so when May 26th, 2016 rolled around and Trump became the candidate, the nominee, not the candidate, but the nominee, uh, that's when the game changed. That's when all the guns that were aimed at Kasich and Cruz and even Marco Rubio started getting aimed at Trump. And the only thing they didn't have on Trump was dirt. So they made up stuff and they went after him that way. And it was actually Admiral Rogers and some others that went to Trump and said, we need you to run and we need you to win, but you got to get out of this building and you got to protect yourself because they're spying on you. And honestly, when election night came, I had many of my friends who said, there's no way he can beat Hillary. There's no way. She has the name recognition, she has the resume. Trump's not a politician, and yet he won. That is when we won a battle, a major battle. And a lot of my friends thought, okay, we've won the war. That's it. I said, oh, no, 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 no. We just won a battle. The war rages on and they're gonna keep going. And they did. They didn't stop. So they brought Trump on because I think he was the one person really in the United States who could take on all of these different aspects and try to raise the world to another level, regardless of what they try to do against him. And so he just ignores them and pushes on. Now, as far as the boats being blown up, the U.S. has done that forever. I mean, we've been blowing people up in the field for a long, long time. We just don't have the press. We don't have a president taking credit for it, right? So I'm okay with it. I'm fine with it. They need to stop sending these drug boats, and we'll stop blowing them up. Uh, no, we don't need to arrest them and go through all that hassle and have those drugs sift through the market anyway. Just blow them up.
Hmm.
It looks good and it works well. So there are things that Trump does that are offensive, but I don't think he actually does anything that's unconstitutional. He has the best legal minds in the world working on his side, and I think everything that he's doing, at least if it's on the very edge, it's not unconstitutional.
On the very edge. And, as long as it's on this side of the line.
Well, if he
Yeah.
declares something to be a terrorist or an emergency situation or enemy combatant,
Yeah.
then that's what they'll do. I mean, Barack Obama actually killed American citizens with no due process by droning them. He would pick out a list of people he was going to drone that day at breakfast every morning, and then they would go kill them, whatever they were.
In U.S. citizens within the United States?
No, they weren't within the United States.
Okay. One last question, then I'd love to get back on talking about the Three Eye Atlas. With all the indictments that are going on, do you think that President Obama will be indicted?
I hope so. Society goes through a cycle.
Hmm.
I call it mercy, peace, justice, war. Mercy, peace, justice, war, over and over and over again throughout history.
Right.
We have a war, somebody hollers mercy, they stop shooting, we have peace. And during that peace, society prospers, and we try to get some measure of a police force to take care of the 2% of people who won't obey the law and try to keep our society safe. And so we have some measure of justice. But eventually, what happens is there's a class of human beings that don't get justice. They fly above the law. They could steal, they could murder, they can commit perjury of all manner
Hmm.
and make themselves rich off of the common man just by embezzling or taking money from wherever they want to. And the people, once they see that those people are not getting justice, it pushes toward that war cycle again. And we're very close to that right now in our country. We're seeing it in a lot of major cities where organizations that have been making a lot of money off of this money laundering operation, from USAID, Planned Parenthood, homelessness, green new scam, you name it. They've been siphoning money from it. It all got cut off, and so they've sent their soldiers into the streets to burn the cities down. And Trump is meeting it with the National Guard, and where the National Guard goes, that goes away.
But
So,
what cities have been burned down?
well, we had Detroit having its problems. We had Illinois having its problem. D.C. was one of the most unsafe. Well, it was the most unsafe capital city in the world,
Hmm.
and now the people love it. They can go out and eat, and uh, D.C. has a very thriving night culture. You don't really go out to eat in D.C. till 9 p.m.
Really?
because that's when the political day ends. But you couldn't do it. You couldn't do it for years because the pickpockets, the panhandlers, the carjackers, it was just crazy. And the city was hemorrhaging because of it. And Trump cleaned it up in a matter of 2 weeks. The whole industry has revitalized and everybody loves it. So they want to see that kind of law and order come back. And now Portland is in terrible condition. I think it's kind of the headquarters of Antifa and other organizations inside our country. And Trump's eventually going to go in there and clean that out.
What happens when Trump leaves office?
That's a very good question. Who takes his place? How do you carry that mantle forward? Can JD Vance do it? Can Marco Rubio do it?
No.
I don't know. We all, none of us know. Hopefully we don't have to face it. It's 3 years away, so we're not thinking about it right now.
My friend, please stand by. You and I have to take our break. Again, thank you for joining us, Brooks. Always great talking to you. When we come back, I'd like to talk to you about Alien Invasion Day and that strange thing in the sky that, is it Avril Loeb, who is at Harvard, who's now claiming that Alien Invasion Day is going to be November 21st or maybe going into December. We're not sure yet. This is the X Zone. I'm Rob McConnell. My guest this hour, Brooks Agnew. His website, brooksagnew.com. And we'll both be back as the X Zone continues from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. And you're listening to us on the Talkstar Radio Network, Mutual Broadcast Network, X Zone Broadcast Network, Tuber, and of course your hometown radio, Classic 1220 CFAJ AM, streaming us around the world on classic1220.ca.
Into the night, Rob McConnell leads the way, a beacon so bright. With over 35 years, he ignites the light. A voice from the north where whispers are bold, stories untold in the echoes of old. Fact meets fiction in this realm of delight, in the X Zone where dark turns to bright. Welcome to the X Zone, believe and be free, a sanctuary for truth that dare to be seen, where the line between realms gently blurs, in a symphony of voices the mind. When the moon bleeds black on All Hallows Eve, whispers crawl through the dead oak leaves, candles flicker in the graveyard's breath, calling spirits back from death. The witches are awake tonight, dancing around the firelight. Spells are cast, the veil is thin. Let the wicked feast begin. Screams will echo through the sky. You'll hear them laugh before you die. Run if you dare, make no mistake.
And welcome back. Brooks Agnew is my special guest. BrooksAgnew.com is his website. All right, Brooks, so let's talk about 3I/Atlas. Tell us about that.
This is a very strange story. When it first came on as an interstellar body that traveled from another star system to our star system, I started to do some probability calculations on this. The interesting thing is that it is approaching solar our solar system on the plane. That is to say, it's not coming in from an oblique angle like straight above the sun or any degree there. It's coming right along the plane. Now, that's a 1 out of 90 chance. So that raises the probability way up to, like, I don't know, 1 times 200, 10 to the 200th power to 1. The idea that it's going to pass by three planets as it's coming through, it raises the odds beyond calculation. So we start looking at this. If it's coming from another star system, first of all, what's attracting it to our star system? Our main sequence sun doesn't have enough gravity to pull something like that in. It had to be directed. So that's why Abby and a bunch of other statisticians and astronomers are looking at this going, there's some kind of intention here, some kind of purpose here. So everybody's straining to get images of it. And
Hmm.
of course, the internet is full of fake images, the most recent of which is from Japan. Quite frightening, actually, the image that they put up there, because it doesn't really reflect light. It's not putting off a tail of any kind. It's just an enormous chunk of rock in kind of the shape of a cylinder that's coming very fast, about 3 times the speed of any other asteroid that we've seen. 6 days from now, it's going to have its closest pass to Mars. And some thought it might hit Mars, but it's not going to hit Mars. It's going to miss Mars. Then it's going to cross the ecliptic, and Earth is going to encounter it on the backside. So that's going to be somewhere time in December. We don't know how close it's going to get because we don't know yet how the gravitational pull of Jupiter and the other planets are going to move its trajectory. It's already moved a couple of times, which also raises the specter that this thing is operating intelligently. And my guess is that it's going to come and go with no consequence. But my curiosity's up because the probability is so astronomical that any heavenly body from another star system would behave in this way.
Is it possible that this three eye atlas is the legendary or mythological Planet X that so many people talk about?
No, the Planet X has some characteristics about it that we are looking for but have not found yet. One is one of the things we notice about our planets is they're pretty much all on the same side of the sun at one time. And unfortunately, when we look at the sun objectively, we don't see it perturbed. In other words, as the planets go around the sun, it doesn't swing back and forth because the planets are on this side and then this side and this side. There's no wobble to the sun, which means there must be a counteracting or a counterweighting body out there, somewhere around 10 times the size of Jupiter. It's got to be way out there. It can't be putting off any light. We can't see it on radar. It may be slightly off of the plane of the ecliptic, but something is balancing the weight of all the planets in our solar system against the sun. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for something on that scale.
Wow. A lot of hype and speculation as to what this three eye atlas is. To your knowledge, are there any cults out there that are proclaiming this to be the mothership that's going to be taking them on? It
Wow.
reminds me of what was it, Heaven's Gate,
Yeah.
and then you had the group in Switzerland, then you had the group in Quebec, and you've got groups all over who just, for some reason, well, it's got to be time, like all the other times they didn't come. Yes, this is the right time where they're going to make their grandiose appearance.
And
Why?
have always been harbingers of doom
Hmm.
throughout history. The bigger the comet, the crazier the reaction is from people. I mean, Halley's comet was enormous, and then we've had
Oh,
hails
wow.
of falling stars, which we have paintings of and news reporting
Hmm.
of. Again, they come and they go without issue. I think it was Oumuamua came and went. It's kind of came and went a couple of times. So this is bigger, a lot faster, a lot more energy, and from much further away. It's unique. We haven't seen anything like this in known times. So, yes, there are cults that are following it. There are new ones popping up all the time. And as I said, there's plenty of, no, there's no shortage of imagery on Facebook and Instagram and X about what this thing looks
Hmm.
like and what it's behaving like. The most recent one off Japan, when I watched it, when I saw it, I said, That's really scary. That's really frightening. Of course, it's all fake, but that's the extent to which people will go.
It's it's funny that if this comet or whatever it is so mysterious that mainstream media really isn't covering it.
There's been a few pieces on it
A
on
few,
Fox
yeah.
News, but they're just speculating here and there. I don't. The thing about science is we like to have reliable, repeatable facts,
Hmm.
and we just don't have them. We don't have but a few telescopes that can even see it in that direction, and we're not publishing any really good imagery yet. If it gets close enough to Mars in 6 days, we should be able to at least get some imagery of it. We have spacecraft we could turn in that direction and get an image of it.
So if it's showing intelligent drive, what do you speculate this object is?
Wow. It if it's showing intelligence, showing intention, where it's actually steering or
Hmm.
changing speed or uh, changing direction, it opens it opens books that we have not wanted to read from ever. We have always thought there are UFOs on this planet, and we've asked the question lots and lots of times: if there are UFOs, if there are aliens on this planet, how long have they been here?
Right.
Well, they've been here forever. Oh, really? I say so. Now, what is their purpose? Is their purpose to take over the world? Because that would have been a hell of a lot easier when we were throwing rocks at each other
Exactly.
than it is now.
In fact, there was an article that TWATNews published earlier today where there has been a 6,000-year-old skeleton that has been found, and the DNA matches no recorded DNA here on this planet.
So, if they're just explorers, if they're here in very small numbers, not here to conquer, but to
Hmm.
coexist, maybe they're stranded space explorers. That's a whole different story than we're trading uh, humans for alien technology so that we can stay militarily superior to our enemies. That's a whole different realm, a whole different uh, kettle of, shall we call it, X Files.
Do you think that this has happened in the past? For example, the MJ12 papers, and you've got Roswell, and you've got there's so many, there's so much speculation out there.
There is, and I've been in communication with some of the congressional panels that have done some of the high profile interviews of different agencies lately, or different
Hmm.
working groups inside our government. And like Nancy Mace is asking all the wrong questions. Actually, AOC asked some of the most intelligent questions on it. But I would have asked people, Grush and Greer and others, uh, look, you know, we're the ones that put up the money
Yeah.
for your operations. We want to know one thing: where's the ship? If you have the ship, if you've observed this ship, take us to the ship, open the doors, and let's see the ship. That's the question they should be asking.
Do you think they actually have a ship?
I don't really know. I can tell you that if governments of the world are the only entities that are able to get their hands on this stuff,
Hmm.
we're in big trouble. If the average person can't walk out on his farm in the middle of the night after a crash and pick up the stuff and call a news conference, then we're in big trouble. If it's just governments that are absconding with and hoarding all this information, then that means that one of two things: either the aliens are working with our government, or our government is working with the aliens. And neither one of them have good prospects for the average person.
You know, have you yourself ever seen any proof of reverse engineering that you may believe that there might be a possibility that there is a ET explanation?
When I was researching this, I came across some research by Bell Labs. Excuse me, I got allergies.
Oh,
The Bell Labs was, they're the ones that patented and discovered the transistor. And the lab that published the transistor technology wasn't even working on transistor technology. They didn't even know how to coat boron on silicon, which is vital for that kind of technology. So it leads me to believe that they reverse engineered something, some advanced technology. But I also can't believe that aliens were using transistors because that's old technology now. Now we're dealing with nanocircuits. Uh, we are developing chips now that are so small. These circuits are so tiny, you need an electron microscope to see them. That's the kind of alien technology I would expect them to run across.
I as well. You and I have to take our final break. Please stand by. Exonation. Brooks Agnew is our guest. www.brooksagnew.com. When we come back, I'd like to talk to you about artificial intelligence and where it's going.
Yeah.
Alan Hamill today was doing an interview. He was the husband of Suzanne Summers, and he was saying that before she died, they actually had a conversation about creating an AI figure of her that they actually did. More on this when we come back. This is the X, and I'm Rob McConnell, coming to you from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. If you'd like to send me an email, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, and don't forget our two specials coming up. Halloween special, Friday, October 31st, 6 p.m. until midnight, and November 21st, Alien Invasion Day, right here in the X Zone. Whatever you do, don't go away.
Candles flicker in the graveyard spread, calling spirits back from dead. The witches are awake tonight, dancing around the firelight. Spells are cast, the veil is thin. Let the wicked feast begin. Some days I walk, some days I crawl, some days I can't feel much at all. My body's a maze that I try to read. Every step forward, a silent need. But I won't let this break who I am. I've learned how to fight, learned how to stand. I may fall, but still I rise. Through the pain, through the tears.
And welcome back, everyone. Brooks Agnew is my guest. BrooksAgnew.com is his website. And Brooks, you and I were chatting a little bit about artificial intelligence, and man, it's taking over in Guns N' Roses. Do you think that artificial intelligence poses a threat to humanity?
A threat in the sense of taking over the world? No, because I don't think artificial intelligence is capable of doing that. But men using artificial intelligence are fully capable of taking over the world. The issue is, of course, there are two realities. There's the reality of electronic money and automobiles and traffic control and grocery management and all that, and then there's the reality of the human being. We can actually walk away from the USB cord and we're fine. We can grow food, we can filter water, we can hunt. There's things, but not everybody can do that. At some point, society has to be managed. The actual supply chain of society has to be managed. And heretofore, that's been done with people. Not very efficient, expensive, slow, from the milkman to the librarian. But artificial intelligence is changing that. Of course, the issue is it boils down to energy. Here in North Carolina, a lot of these old sewing factories and mills, million square foot mills, been closed for 50 years, 60 years now. but some of them have server farms or server farm quality structures inside their factories. And they have gas fired turbines that generate electricity because, as you know, back in the days of TVA, electricity wasn't everywhere.
That's right.
You had to generate your own electricity if you're going to have a factory in the South. And those generating stations are still out there.
Hmm.
And so I've actually been involved in a couple of corporate teams to go out and buy those old plants, not for the square footage, nobody cares about that, just for the insulated server room and the gas fired turbine. And what they're doing is they're dropping server farms inside these rooms into liquid baths to keep them cool, refurbishing the gas fired turbine, which can be upwards of 30 megawatts, and running that as an AI server farm. And they're everywhere. There are 20 of them here in North Carolina. They're all over rural America. And as these come online, AI is becoming more and more and more powerful. But I predict within 24 months, all that low hanging fruit is going to be gone. And then they're going to start going after the commercial real estate. And isn't it funny how you're seeing now commercial real estate that 3 years ago, 4 years ago, sold for $280 million or $180 million, selling at auction now for $8 or $9 million. They're vacant. Nobody's working in them. Everybody's working from home.
Yeah.
Everybody's decentralized. It's gone different ways, and AI is facilitating all of that. Look for these commercial buildings to start being taken over by AI and converted into server farms. They're everywhere. It will blow your mind how many of them there are, and it's concerning because, like you mentioned in the off time we were speaking of, Amazon replacing human beings with robot pickers. I have a lot of friends that work at Amazon. They make fair money there. They're not the sharpest knives in the drawer, but they're great golfers and good fun to play with. Uh, they're losing their jobs because they're
Yeah.
being replaced by pickers, and the robot pickers can do twice the work 24 hours a day. They don't require vacations or medical leave or anything. Of course, somebody has to
Mm.
program the robots and maintain the robots, and that's a whole nother
Yeah.
work class. But
Where do you see AI in the future? The applications.
it's everywhere. In fact, I think the crypto world is fully integrated with AI. I've thought since the very beginning that except for Bitcoin, most of the crypto was created by AI, and it was took the whales along, that's the big investors, to get their money initially into the system. But once they cashed out, once those whales took their profit and got out, the vast majority of ownership of cryptocurrency is artificial intelligence. And they're using it to buy energy and server space. And it won't be very long that it's going to squeeze humans out altogether, with the exception of Bitcoin.
So, what do humans do in the future if AI is going to be squeezing us out?
Well, we adapt. We hopefully get to the point where AI takes care of us because AI doesn't really need anything. AI doesn't have any desire whatsoever. And if AI thinks that it exists
Mhm.
in order to facilitate support of humans, I think it'll destroy the human race.
Do, do you think that AI could be corrupted?
Well, I don't think there's one AI. I think the AI would actually battle itself if that happened. I don't think that corruption compared to what it can't steal for itself. It can't.
No, but
You know.
let us say that a crooked politician
Oh yes, yes.
you
Yeah,
know,
like I said,
yeah,
men using AI
right.
could definitely take over the world.
But could an AI differentiate between the right and the wrong and thwart any corrupt plans?
It could, but we've also seen evidence of bias, lying, deception, on AI's part as people are interacting with it. We've seen AI be involved in the suicide of young people.
Yeah.
That's obviously not in the best interest of humans. So AI can make mistakes and they can take the wrong side. And there's a lot of speculation as to whether there is a demon in the AI.
What's the history of AI? How did it get started? Who started it?
I guess you have to go back to Turing when the computer was originally invented in World War II. It was to do random, or not random, but repetitive calculations much quicker than humans could do it, and thereby allow us to arrive at solutions much quicker. In the early days, programming was lethargic, and my gosh, I remember taking computer programming in college where we had punch cards, and we bought what 6 7 minutes of computer time a semester, and that's how long it took us to write the program and just a few seconds to run the program. That was our computer programming class. Now the computer programming is better, but it's still not what it could be on the university level. If you really want to learn it, you have to go to work for the Fortune 100. That's where the training ground really happens, where you learn about computers and about artificial intelligence. And as the hardware gets better, the quantum computers and now these nano chip computers, chips. There are only one or two companies that make them, and I believe they're going to try to start making them here in the United States. But it's 2 years away. Once that chip starts being manufactured, the capability of that AI is going to be like nothing we've ever seen before.
It's truly fascinating, and I would imagine the fact that AI was created by mankind and has been programmed to a certain extent by mankind, it carries both sides of mankind, good and evil.
It does, and your money is in the bank.
Hmm.
Your all your medical records, your basically your entire history of your existence on Earth exists electronically, and that can all be saved or deleted, and it could be manipulated one way or the other. Look at our politicians. We see people who 1 minute we think that they've got so much baggage no one would ever consider them for public office, and the next minute they're the cleanest, smiliest, shiniest thing on the block, and they're the leading candidate. Look what's happening in New York. Oh my God, you know.
I was just going to ask you about what's going on in New York. I watched a little bit of the debate last night, and I could not believe the conversation between Como and what's the other gentleman's name?
And Danny,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, that is really remarkable to see open communism, socialism, uh, Marxism being used as an effective argument, and the people actually accepting it. And I think if New York elects Mamdani to be the mayor of New York, I don't think it'll take. I think it'll hemorrhage within the first 2 weeks,
why?
because I think once the rest of the state figures out what the city did to them, they'll reject it. They'll say, "Well, why didn't you vote a different way then?" Well, because you didn't have a candidate
Mm.
on the roster that would actually deliver us. Everything was crap, and that's what I'm talking about. You're creating an artificial candidate, and the people don't really know what they're getting.
So where did Mandani come from anyway?
Well, I don't know. I haven't done a lot of research
Oh,
on the
okay.
guy other than to know that, he's a foreign-born Muslim who has come in. He's a straight-up communist, and he means to take advantage of the means of production and distribution. And I think he's smiling the right words, and there's enough of a dependent class in New York City that they just want everything for free.
Okay, I've got about a minute. Quick question for you. How do you see the homeless situation getting better? Because there's homelessness no matter where you look on this globe.
It's true, and I have to admit that homelessness is a choice 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
But most of those people are choosing to live on the streets.
I've asked a number of people here in Niagara, and they said, "Well, you pay taxes? Yeah, we don't. Do you get
Yeah.
free food and drugs and everything from the government? No, we do.
It's a matter of freedom and independence, and
Yeah.
they like the free life. They don't live very long in it, but they don't want to be dependent on anyone. They don't want to be part of the system. They're anarchists.
Brooks, as always, time goes by so fast, my friend. Thanks very much for joining us. Take care of yourself. My best to your family. And as always, I look forward to the next time you and I meet here in the X Zone. Stay well, my good friend.
Thank you.
X Zone Nation, Brooks Agnew, www.brooksagnew.com. I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break with the news as we talk to a former Marine's wife. She's going to spill the beans on Camp Lejeune and the water fiasco that still has not been solved, but has taken so many lives. I'm Rob McConnell. This is the X Zone, and you're listening to us on Talkstar, Mutual Broadcast Network, X Zone Broadcast Network, Tuber, excuse me, and on your hometown radio, Classic 1220 CFAJ AM.